What's up, y'all? Welcome to Weezys Weekend Wind Up. Thank you, everyone that made it out. Didn't wasn't sure if I was gonna do a show. I do have a UFC fight night later on tonight, and that will be on Rumble live for any fight night enthusiasts. We do get a little rowdy. We do get a little wild. Um, some people really, really love those shows, and then other people have told me, Wheezy, I love all your shit except the UFC fight nights. So to each their own. Um, I do plan on drinking beers, so I do get a little toasty and crispy. We have a good time. Steve Poikonen joins me, Corey Hughes, and sometimes other folks will hop in. And then tomorrow, Sunday, 7 a.m. Eastern. So if you are listening to this in podcast format tonight and you want to tune in live, 7 a.m. Eastern, Dr. Raza returns on a show slash lecture on whether well, I'm on YouTube, so I gotta watch it. Whether a World War II villain was a puppet or not. That's all I can say on YouTube. So um that will be tomorrow Sunday at 7 a.m. So if anyone's interested. I want to thank all the new listeners that have recently followed. The last few weeks have been crazy. I've received tons and tons of downloads on the podcast format. Usually there's like a little number. It's like the average, boom, boom, boom. And it's been like triple the average the last several weeks now. And had several few hundred new listeners on Spotify alone. I'm like, God damn. I'm sure that clip that went viral with 1.2 million views on Facebook probably helped out. So I want to thank all the new listeners that have come along. I did a Charlie Kirk show last week, and it was unplanned. I just Some people had asked me what my thoughts was on the whole event. I gave you my thoughts, and the vast majority of people actually agreed with me, or you know, or mostly. There was a few people that were kind of upset. Some people that left some interesting pissed off comments. But I don't take that personal. Like when people say things or whatever, I understand no matter what anyone says, no one's going to agree. Not every single person is going to agree 100%. That's just the bottom line. Someone's going to find something they disagree with. Some people are going to nitpick every little thing you say or do. And so that's just the nature of the beast. And as a content creator of several years, I've learned that those comments by people that I don't know anything about, anonymous online accounts that don't show a face, have fake names, those kind of comments from those people they do absolute zero to me. So I don't care. I like to joke back with them, blow them kisses, and maybe hopefully trigger them back. So I have fun with it. This is Weezy's Weekend Wind Up, and I cover the current events. So if you're a new listener, this is what we do. And then after the events, I open up the StreamYard. Zoe Smith may join me. I'm going to see if she's going to join us. And if she joins me, I will not open up the StreamYard. Um, I will just have her on, and she's been on James Corbett show. She's made the rounds. She wrote a book called The Thrill Kill Medical Cult she's a former medical coder whistleblower. And yeah, it'd be awesome to have her if she comes on. Let's see. All right. Well, before we start, let's do this. I've seen what's up, Rocky USA? What's up, my lovely Miss T? What's up, Talma Terry? And who else we got up in here? We have Maria, all right. Kitty cat fur babies. Haven't seen her. Miss Cajones, definitely in the stream. George O'Brien, welcome to the stream, brother. And Terra Preta Wild, this pseudonym, this pseudonym account thinks you are great. Well, you know what? I think your pseudonym account is also great. Thank you. Miss Hev, hell yeah. Welcome to the stream. Who else we got up in here? Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you guys for joining me. Should be a interesting set of news articles. Some of you have heard some of these articles, and I will give some thoughts. And I already know Miss Hev being in here. She may disagree with some of my thoughts. But I love Miss Hev. She's freaking awesome. She's a fine example of two people that, for example, the Trump deal. We view Trump, she views Trump as completely innocent, a hero, great. He can't do anything wrong. And I view him as pure scum. So completely opposite views on the guy, and yet we still get along. So shout out to Miss Eb. All right, let's start with our first. There we go. See, there you go, right there. I disagree with a lot. It's all good. Hell yeah, that's what's up. What's up? Any word? All right, let us go to our first article. Line of business. We will go here. All right. First article is from the rag known as The Guardian. Written by, where's the freaking author? I don't see an author here, so maybe it's, I guess no author. All right, so this is, apparently there was a quote-unquote terror attack in Manchester just a couple of days ago. I haven't looked into it at all, and so I'm just going to read what the mainstream news has to say. And especially because of being on YouTube, I can't go into deep even if I thought other things. But let's read it. Manchester attack. 2 killed and 3 injured after terrorist drives into grounds of synagogue and stabs worshippers. Police say Jihad al-Shami, a British citizen of Syrian descent, was behind a car and knife attack that left 3 people seriously injured. Police have shot dead a terrorist who killed 2 people and seriously injured 3 others in an attack at a synagogue in Manchester on Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar. Using a car to ram into the grounds of the Heaton Park Hebrew Congregation Synagogue in Crumpsall, the man then stabbed worshippers in a 6-minute rampage that ended only when armed officers shot at him twice, fearing he also had an explosive device tied to his chest. It was later found to be fake. Police named the attacker on Thursday night as Jihad al-Shami, a 35-year-old British citizen of Syrian descent. Greater Manchester Police revealed that 3 other people, 2 men in their 30s and 1 woman in her 60s, had been arrested on suspicion of commission, preparation, and instigation of acts of terrorism. It is understood the attacker entered the UK as a young child and was granted British citizenship in 2006. The attack drew widespread condemnation across the political spectrum, with Keir Starmer calling the knife attacker a vile individual who attacked Jews because they are Jews and attacked Britain because of our values. Political rivals Kemi Badenoch, and Nigel Farage were among those joining the Prime Minister in showing support for the Jewish community. It happened days before the 2nd anniversary of the 7 October attacks by Hamas and Israel. Police said there would be heightened security at synagogues and Jewish community centers in the coming days. Research published on Thursday showed that more than a third, 35% of British Jews, said they felt unsafe in the UK, compared with 9% before the 7 October attacks. So that's an interesting little comment. Very political in nature there. All right. Continuing on, the Board of Deputies and the Jewish Leadership Council said in a statement on Thursday evening that the attack was sadly something we feared was coming. They added, "We call on those in positions of power and influence to take the required action to combat hatred against Jewish people, and we'll be working with the authorities on a series of additional measures to protect our community over the coming days." Starmer flew back to the UK early from a gathering of European leaders in Denmark to chair an emergency Cobra meeting after the incident before speaking to the nation on Downing Street. Benjamin Netanyahu said in a statement, Israel grieves with the Jewish community in the UK after the barbaric terror attack in Manchester. Our hearts are with the families of the murdered, and we pray for the swift recovery of the wounded. And the article goes on. So, again, I haven't looked into it. I don't know too much of the details except for what I just read to you, but interesting that Netanyahu would comment completely oblivious to what's happening in Palestine, apparently. So found that interesting. Also found interesting how they're talking about Jewish folks under attack and everything. So those are interesting things because I don't know anything about this incident, but it seems like you keep seeing these similar storylines getting pushed and pushed and pushed. So that's all I will say on that because I am on YouTube. And let's go to our next article. This too is from The Guardian. This is written by Kyriakos Petrakos. And the date for this article is Saturday, 27th of September. So last week. More than 1.6 million signed the petition opposing Starmer's plan for digital ID cards. Opponents of the scheme for people working in UK describe it as a step towards mass surveillance and digital control. Let's see. Okay. More than 1.6 million people have signed a petition opposing the introduction of digital ID cards after Keir Starmer announced the plans to make them mandatory for people working in the UK by 2029. The petition says no one should be forced to register with a state-controlled ID system, which it describes as a step towards mass surveillance and digital control. Petitions that receive more than 100,000 signatures are considered for a debate in Parliament, but there is little evidence of their success in shaping government policy. More than 6 million people signed one calling for Brexit to be reversed. Digital ID cards presented an enormous opportunity for the UK, Starmer said on Friday, as the government grappled with civil liberties' role over the proposals. I know working people are worried about the level of illegal immigration into this country, the Prime Minister said. A secure border and controlled migration are reasonable demands, and this government is listening and delivering. This is hilarious because I have been saying exactly this for well over a couple years now, that the whole illegal immigration, the reason they're letting the borders flood was to bring in biometric IDs and all this digital surveillance and then say, oh, look, now we're going to stop illegal immigration. It's a big ruse. But all these people that are always crying about illegals doing this and doing that are probably now applauding, well, yeah, I want to get rid of illegal immigration. So, yeah, sign me up for these biometric IDs. The complete hypocrisy. And it's a lot of these right wingers. You know, it is what it is. Now, let me finish reading this and I'll get more into my thoughts because this issue it cracks me up because you could see the setup for this years in the making. It was considered a conspiracy theory to talk about biometric IDs and digital surveillance. And now we're seeing it. We're seeing it normalized. And this is what this article was trying to normalize. We're going to get tough on the border. We need digital IDs. Holy crap, man. It's been, yeah, it's been in our faces for years. This isn't nothing new at this point. Let's see. He argued that the Brit card would offer ordinary citizens countless benefits, like being able to prove your identity, to access key services swiftly, rather than hunting around for an old utility bill. Yeah, convenience, guys. Civil liberties groups have raised concerns over the proposals, with Silky Carlo, the director of Big Brother Watch, warning the system would make Britain less free and create a domestic mass surveillance infrastructure that will likely sprawl from citizenship to benefits, tax, health, possibly even internet data, and more. There you go. He added, incredibly sensitive information about each and every one of us would be hoarded by the state and vulnerable to cyber attacks. Addressing concerns over the government's use of digital IDs, the Culture Secretary Lisa Nandy said ministers had no intention of pursuing a dystopian mess. I call bullshit on that. The conservative leader, Kemi Badenoch, said her party would oppose any push by the government to impose mandatory ID cards on law-abiding citizens. The Reform UK leader, Nigel Farage, also criticized the scheme, which he described as an anti-British card. Writing in the Daily Express, he said, the Labour government's plan to impose digital ID cards on all adults will do nothing to combat illegal immigration, but it will give the state more power to control the British people. So hell yeah, man. Let's talk about this shit. So again, as I stated, in one last comment from the last article about the Manchester attack, that it was a comment that came to my mind. But the suspect is called Jihad al-Shami. Again, I'm not trying to laugh if it's a real attack and real people died. I'm just laughing like, if some motherfucker's name was, I'm an assassin of these peoples or whatever, you know, like his name is Jihad al-Shami. Come on, man. You literally can't make this shit up. Anyways, I forgot. I wanted to say that. All right. Anyways, going back to again, I'm not laughing if people really got killed, but how ridiculous is that? The attacker's name is Jihad. I mean, oh, gee whiz, man. We're living in crazy times, crazy wild times. Anyways, going back to this whole digital ID stuff, like I said, people have been complaining that the borders have been open and they've been letting illegals flood. A lot of these right-wingers were saying it's these left-wingers opening the borders. In my opinion, it's both sides doing the same shit, man. Now, the solution is by these right-wingers saying, look, you guys don't want illegal immigration. Let's get on board with digital IDs. And like that one person said, it's further erodes the rights in the UK, which, for the American listeners, if you are not aware, free speech in the UK does not exist. I've played various clips. For those that have been following me for a long time, Brian Harvey and I were friends at one point, real good friends, and he had cops come to his house because we did a live stream on YouTube talking shit. No violence, no death threats, nothing like that. We were talking shit on a YouTube stream, and 19 cops went to his house. And now that has ramped up. I've seen videos constantly on Twitter and X where people share a meme. They share simply a meme and get arrested. The cops come at their home at 11 o'clock at night, like a midnight raid, essentially, to arrest people over sharing a fucking meme. This is how retarded the lack of free speech in the UK is at this moment in time. So now they, on top of the complete erosion of actual free speech in the UK, they want to add more of this shit, a social credit system, if you will. God damn, man. Now, I would love to visit the UK, but this is why I would never want to live in the UK. Shit like this, it's preposterous. And my heart goes out to the people living in the UK under this totalitarian regime. You know what I'm saying? It's fucking shitty. And the reason I talk about it as an American, even though I'm across the pond, because I fear the same shit is they're trying to push that stuff. And I'm going to get into some articles by the Trump administration demonstrating that they're pushing it. And you have to see the patterns. You have to see the patterns taking shape, taking form. Otherwise, you're going to be oblivious to it. Here is an article that will pretty much show my point of them trying to bring that same totalitarian bullshit over here. And it's under the Trump administration, no less. Earlier in the week, we heard how Trump wants to bring in the military into Chicago, which is essentially martial fucking law. Where are all these Trumpers, all these right-wingers? And I could already hear it. I'm not even looking at the comments. I could already hear it. People justifying this. Well, look at the crime in Chicago. Oh my God. It's pathetic, man. I'm seeing a lot of right-wingers, a lot of pro-Trumpers applaud this. I've been seeing people on X saying, this is exactly what I voted for. They're cheering on the surveillance state. They're cheering on martial law. And I talked about this last week, how pathetic and hypocritical it is to take that stand. A lot of the same people that were crying about free speech only a couple years ago are now applauding this type of bullshit, this form of totalitarianism. All right, this article is from Political, written by Gregory Sinervosky, I believe, on the 4th of October, 2025. Trump to federalize Illinois National Guard, Pritzker says. This morning, the Trump administration's Department of War gave me an ultimatum, Pritzker said. President Donald Trump will soon federalize 300 National Guard troops in Illinois, Governor J.B. Pritzker said Saturday, a move that comes despite the governor's opposition. This morning, the Trump administration's Department of War gave me an ultimatum. Call up your troops or we will, Pritzker said in a statement. It is absolutely outrageous and un-American to demand a governor send military troops within our own borders against our will. Pritzker's announcement did not say where the troops will be sent, but Trump has long floated sending troops to Chicago as part of his nationwide crime crackdown. We're going in, he told reporters at the White House in early September. Trump has repeatedly deployed National Guardsmen to cities across America, from LA to Washington, despite federal law generally prohibiting the use of military for domestic law enforcement. And Chicago has been a frequent target of the president's ire. In early September, Trump posted a meme on his social media platform, Truth Social, with himself cast as a central character in the 1979 film Apocalypse Now. Chai Apocalypse Now, the meme said. Chicago about to find out why it's called the Department of War. The White House did not immediately respond to a request for comment about its plans in Illinois. Pritzker said in his statement that the administration's motivation had little to do with protecting America from violent crime. They will pull hardworking Americans out of the regular jobs and away from their families, all to participate in a manufactured performance, not a serious effort to protect public safety, Pritzker said. For Donald Trump, This has never been about safety. This is about control. Chicago officials have spent weeks preparing for a federal troop deployment, relying on plans originally used for the Democratic National Convention last year. Pritzker on Monday warned that the Department of Homeland Security had notified his state that a memo had been sent to the Defense Department requesting the deployment of troops to protect the U.S. immigration and customs enforcement facilities. In a Tuesday speech at a Marine base at Quantico, Virginia, Trump said he told Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth we would use some of these dangerous cities as training grounds for U.S. military. God damn. Trumpers, how the hell do you defend that kind of bullshit rhetoric? Put them in the comments. I want to hear these excuses. Continuing on. We're going into Chicago very soon, he said. That's a big city with an incompetent governor. A stupid governor. The move comes a week after Trump directed Hegseth to send federal troops to Portland to tackle street crime and protect ICE facilities. He said we're under siege from attack by Antifa. Authorizing the use of full force in doing so. Portland and Oregon have since sued to stop Trump from federalizing the state's National Guard. A ruling could come as soon as Saturday in that case. Trump federalized the National Guard and sent Marines to LA in June amid sporadic protests in the city over the White House immigration and deportation policy. A federal judge ruled the measure illegal in September, writing that Trump and Hegseth were aspiring towards creating a national police force with the president as its chief. That ruling has since been paused by an appellate court. All right, enough of that shit. So there you go. Here you have a clear example of Trump marching towards martial law and being proud of it. Where are all those pro-Trumpers that claim to be against these type of totalitarian tactics under the Biden administration? Where are they now? Or have they made an excuse to say, well, it was wrong when Biden did it, but now that Trump is doing, we're okay with it? Newsflash, that is called hypocrisy. And you are a goddamn hypocrite if you hold those views. Change my fucking mind. All right. I'm going to see if we got a guest. Because if we don't have a guest, okay, sweet. I will have a guest. I will have a Zoe Smith joining me. Maybe we can elaborate a little bit on this and talk about her book. So an unplanned good show coming up for you guys. All right, next article. This is by the rag known as The Guardian once again. Found this article and I thought it was interesting. Again, here is another clear example of the Trump administration censoring shit that they don't like, that bothers them. A lot of people voted for Trump because they were for free speech. They were against censorship. And there have been many examples where all the shit that people voted for or claimed they voted for has been reneged upon by this administration. Here's another example. Apple removes ICE tracking apps after pressure from Trump administration. Companies removed ICE Block and similar immigration agent alert apps from its app store, citing safety risks. It kind of reminds me when shit gets redacted and it's done under the guise of national security. It's bullshit. That's what it is. It's not safety risks. It's not national security. It's bullshit. That's what it is. Continuing on, Apple has removed an app from its App Store that uses crowdsourcing to flag sightings of U.S. immigration agents after facing pressure from Donald Trump's administration. IceBlock, a free iPhone only app that lets users anonymously report and monitor activity by immigration and customs enforcement officers, was no longer available on Friday. The app's developer said last month that it had more than 1 million users. We just received a message from Apple's app review that IceBlock has been removed from the App Store due to its objectionable content. The developer said in a social media post, "The only thing we can imagine is this is due to pressure from the Trump admin. We have responded and we will fight this. Even though it has been removed from the app marketplace, those who have already downloaded the app should still be able to use it." Downloads of apps, including IceBlock, have surged as the Trump administration steps up immigration enforcement with its surprise raids. The technology has come under fire from authorities after agents were targeted. "We created the App Store to be safe and trusted place to discover apps," Apple said in a statement. "Based on information we received from law enforcement about the safety risks associated with IceBlock, we have removed it and similar apps from the App Store." The app, first launched in April, was founded by indie musician turned entrepreneur Joshua Aaron. It's a Waze-like app that allows users to alert others when they see ICE agents within a 5-mile radius of their current location. When Aaron first tried to put in on an app store, the release was pushed back for 3 weeks as he went back and forth with the company's legal team and other higher-ups about the parameters of the app, including whether Aaron would be able to protect the privacy of IceBlock users. There were conversations almost on a daily basis with senior people there saying, "Is this even legal? Can we do this? Are we going to get in trouble for having this?" Aaron previously told The Guardian. The founder said Apple had a particularly difficult time understanding how Aaron, who did not intend to profit off the app and thus would not collect any data, would protect the privacy of the app's users. Apple had a hard time wrapping their head around it because they were like, "What do you mean you're never going to make any money? What do you mean you're never going to track anything?" Aaron said. "I was like, yeah, that's the point. I don't care. I don't care about people's data as far as being able to get analytics or track them or sell their data. I don't care about any of that. I care about keeping people safe. That is literally the entire point." Eventually, they allowed it on. In June, within 2 months of the app's launch, Kristi Noem and the U.S. Homeland Security Secretary said that the app and its founder were obstructing justice. At the time, Noem suggested prosecuting CNN for reporting on the app. Months later, Aaron's wife, Carolyn Feinstein, lost her job at the Department of Justice, a move the duo said they believe was retaliation for creation of Operation IceBlock. In a July interview on Fox News, Pam Bondi, the U.S. Attorney General, said crowdsourced apps that allow people to communicate about the location of law enforcement officers is not allowed, specifically referring to IceBlock. "We are looking into him, and he better watch out because that's not a protected speech," Bondi said at the time, referring to Aaron. Aaron responded to Bondi's threat directly, telling The Guardian, "Please come on. I better watch out? Why? I'm protected under the First Amendment. This is perfectly legal, and I made sure of that." Yet there are many apps that track law enforcement and remain available to users, such as Waze or Google Maps. Those apps, in addition to providing navigation, alert drivers of potential locations of speed traps. Officials said last month that a gunman who opened fire on an ICE facility in Dallas had searched for apps that tracked the presence of ICE agents. Yeah, so that's interesting. Another clear infringement on people's free speech. And like that article said, if you use Google Maps and you're driving, it'll tell you, "Watch out, there's cops at this section up the road on this street. there's a bunch of cops. And as you drive through, the app will say, "Are those cops still there?" And you say yes or no. Alerting people like, watch your speed. You know, the state is trying to collect its money, so watch your speed. So if those apps are allowed to do it, why is this any different? Why can't an app report on ICE agents? I've been seeing a lot of these damn videos of ICE agents doing some highly dubious shit that doesn't seem, I'm not a law expert, but doesn't seem legal at all. I saw this guy that was riding a electric bike. I'll see if I can pull it up. But he drove by some ICE agents that were on a street corner, and he basically said, "Fuck ICE, I don't have any papers." And then ICE agents ran after him, trying to tackle him, and the little son of a bitch got away. They almost caught him, but he pulled a Barry Sanders, boom, 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 and got away on his little electric bike, and he got away. And I was thinking, those ICE agents were diving at him, trying to tackle his ass. One of them yelled, "Go get him." So you can't even say that? What if he was fucking around? What if he was just joking around? And you're going to tackle someone, perhaps injuring them over that. That is, in my opinion, highly, highly illegal. We are not the UK. That is un-American. And anyone supporting that fucking behavior, turn in your America first, your Patriot card, because that is completely un-American. That illegal behavior by ICE agents, just for someone saying I'm not legal, blah blah blah, basically goading them. It's complete horseshit, man. And if you disagree, hit that StreamYard. That's the thing, man. People will often get triggered by what the if people would that get triggered sometimes by the things I say, just call in. I want to hear from you. Let's hear your justifications for this shit. And I think that's it, man. They had a few more articles. Let me go back to the StreamYard here. I'm gonna see if I can send this StreamYard over to Zoe as we get it ready for this. Zoe, if you are listening, check your X. Check your X, and I will send you the StreamYard there. Sorry. Show's live, guys. Fuck. I can't send you the link, Zoe. What the hell's going on here? You know what I'm saying? Link. What the hell's going on? Oh, okay. It went through. So Zoe, if you are listening in the live chat, hit that link and we'll get you on. Check your X messages for link. Okay. So while we wait for Ms. Zoe to come up on, if maybe I could go some of the comments while we wait for her to jump in, and we'll take it from there. In the meantime, let me play a quick little commercial so I can take a little super brief break. and continue the show. What's up, y'all? This is Weezy. And if you enjoy this content and find it rather exquisite, please feel free to leave a 5-star review on Spotify, Apple iTunes. And if you would like to support the show with some merch and represent, visit the link below. Much love, y'all. All right. Yeah, if you want to get a cool little hat, shirt, hit that little merch link. Shout out to all the Patreons too. I mentioned this to the Patreons, but I'll mention it out. I'm trying to avoid going over and revisiting all the stuff that I've been going through the last few weeks. But a lot of crap. My financial mess. I'm in a financial mess. I was making a lot of money, and I have nothing to show for. That's partially why things in my personal life are changing. And that's all I'll say about that. But my StreamYard, what I'm using the stream right now, was due at the first of the month, and I started panicking because it's $500. It's $500 for the year, and with everything getting tighter and tighter, I wasn't sure if it was going to be possible. And apparently the Patreon, I never cashed it out. I opened up the Patreon years ago during the Sean Atwood Daddygate days. And because I never cashed it out, there was a good little chunk of change that covered that StreamYard. And I'm going to put it aside because, like I said, any money that comes in goes towards the show. I've said this for years. And if you join my Patreon, I don't do any special little gimmicks. I know some content creators do. Oh, if I join the Patreon, he's going to do this special for me. I just do this show, man. And if you find value in it, $5 a month, whatever, please consider that. And that really that was good, man. Earlier in the week, I locked my keys out after working a full day, and I had to call a locksmith. And I don't want to get into detail, but I was super strung out. It was like, fuck, man, everything is going wrong in my life right now. Everything. I just worked 13 fucking hours, and I locked my car keys. Then I had to pay a locksmith to come out. And he charged me half of what I made the whole fucking day working. And it's like, fuck, dude, when am I going to get a lucky break? And then seeing that the Patreon, I had never touched it in years, and it had accumulated a little bit of money. I was like, God damn, there's my lucky break. So enough of that shit. Thank you, everyone that's joined and has joined in the past. I mean, those funds had accumulated from past people that some of them are no longer there. But yeah, thank you, everyone. I'm still waiting on Zoe to hit that link. So in the meantime, let's go over some comments. What's up, Anna? Welcome to the stream. What's up, Frankie? What's up? And I want to read your name just because I'm on YouTube. Let's see. Let's hit up some comments while we wait for our guest. You know what? I'll just put the StreamYard in the Rumble chat. If anyone wants to hop in and discuss any of these things. Oh, and because we are talking COVID, if Zoe comes in, pin message, I will have to stop the stream on YouTube. I almost forgot about that. So if you are on YouTube and you are still wanting, join the Rumble link. Missy, my lovely, beautiful Missy, can you put that Rumble link on the YouTube live chat, and I will pin it there. in that comment. So if you are live there, go jump over to Rumble, please. Uh, remove